Today I'm talking to lawyer, Mr. Kumbo Soko, Kumbo Bonzo Soko, that's how he's best known. He is the managing consultant of Soko and Company. He has served as president of the Malawi Law Society. He's a father, a brother, a son. He also preaches in church sometimes.
Yeah.
And we want to hear, how does he bring all these things in one place and just to give that impact to society? Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
We're sitting in the comfort of your office.
Yes.
A very beautiful office, I must
Thank
say.
you. Thank you.
Take us to your early life. Where were you born? What was life like from the beginning?
Yeah.
From day zero.
Yeah, from day zero.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was born in Mzimba, in Bangweni area, to be precise. In my grandparents' house, for the simple reason that my mom had me when she was still in primary school, and my dad was a secondary school pupil at nearby Robert Law Secondary School, where my mom had been going to Loudon Primary School. So things happened, and he got my mom pregnant, so I was the result of that, and that's where I was born in 1985. And I grew up in my grandparents' house from that time to around 91, when I came to Lilongwe to join up my parents, who at that time had sorted out the issues and decided that I wanted to get married after all. So I stayed with them in Lilongwe. Kawarewan was the first place that I came to. From Kawarewan, we moved around, but around the same area until 2001, when my dad passed on. Then 2 years later, we got moved to Area 18. Yeah, so I think in terms of childhood, where I was born, that's pretty much it.
Let me take you back to that moment where you say you were born when your mom was in primary school. I'm also a child out of wedlock.
Yes.
And people talk.
Yes.
Issues around that. What was it like for you being that young boy in that time?
I wouldn't remember what people would have been saying, for the simple reason that I'm, too young. I'm sure that people talk to me. You've a girl who's been impregnated. She's not married to the boy who has impregnated her. So I'm sure that a lot of folks, spoke, but I don't have any recollection of what exactly was said. Luckily for me, perhaps, my parents, got together in around 1991. I'm not exactly privy to what,
very young.
Yeah, to the processes that happened. But what I know is they got back together, got married. I think it was all traditional, so there wasn't like a church wedding, but all traditional. In the north, we've got these tengas which were dispatched to talk to people from my mom's side, and eventually they decided that they wanted to get married, and of course from that union I got 2 siblings as well. So you're absolutely right. People do talk about it. Maybe it would have been worse if they had remained apart and they'd gone their separate ways. I'm sure growing up it would have been a completely different experience. But the fact that I got married meant that I was then embraced, fully by my dad's side as well. And something curious happened when I came from Mbangweni to join my parents.
Yeah. What was the transition like?
So the transition was, I still remember the day when we drove into the city. There was this gentleman called Mr. Benje. He was a butcherman. All right, he was in the, yeah. So he would usually go around in Mzimba, buying animals. Yeah, so like I was saying, I vividly remember being driven into the city. So there was this gentleman known as Mr. Benje. Mr. Benje had a butchery in Kawali, all right, and he used to go and buy, his animals from all over Mzimba, including from my grandfather, who, sometimes would also source animals, cattle from within Mzimba, and then on sell them to people like Mr. Benje. I think he had spoken to Mr. Benji that my grandson needs to travel to Lilongwe. And Mr. Benji said, yeah, sure, I'll be happy to give him a lift. So I jumped into his car with my auntie, the late Aunt Rachel. It was I think, as I recall it, a blue, I think the French call it Peugeot, but we used to call it Peugeot, if you know, a Peugeot car. Yeah. And we arrived in the city when it was dark. At that time, there were street lights that I think started somewhere where you've got the Kia turn-off. From there to Lilongwe, you had, you know, unfortunately, we vandalized all of that, you know. Yeah, so I remember, and it was the first time to encounter electricity. And then, you know, we would be passing by these street lights, and every time, you know, they would just lighten up the cabin of the car. It was quite amazing. And yeah, we spent the night, I think, at my uncle's, and then in the morning, that's when we were taken to my mom's place. And I remember being so excited to see me. I didn't speak a word of Chichewa, you know, so I had to learn. I had to learn, but you know, I think when you're a kid, you know, you pick up language pretty. Yeah. So yeah, we eventually we did, you know, settle in, and it was a lot of fun growing up. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Kakawal is taken as one of the ghettos in Lilongwe.
Yes. Yes.
What was it like, you know, experiencing the city in that sort of setting from the village?
Yeah.
And, you know, understanding city life from that area. What was it like for you?
You know, yeah, I know people call it the ghetto. For us, it was just home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a place where my mom and dad lived. And I quickly made friends, you know. So when you read stories about the so-called ghettos in other, you know, in other countries, the experience, I think, tends to be much more different from what we have here. I think there isn't kind of endemic violence that, you know, you see where someone is getting their throat slit on a daily basis. A girl child is getting raped almost every day. It wasn't that kind of place. I don't think it's that kind of place even now. It's, you know, it's a very decent place. It was a very safe neighborhood to grow up in. I don't think that my mom had any worries about, you know. Yeah, so we did quickly, you know, settle in, and yeah, it was good. Modest, but I wouldn't call it deprived. But, you know, quite modest. The first house that we settled in was a one-bedroom house. It was a semi-detached house, so there were I think 3 units on that property, single-bedroom units. And we had no water. Of course, there was water within the compound or the property. There was a tap outside from where all 3 of us would draw. And of course, we had a pit latrine, and then, you know, there was no kitchen that was separately provided for. There was a room outside the property where my mom would do the cooking and, you know, stuff. Yeah, so yeah.
Memories from childhood.
I guess, you know, the kind of growing up that most of us would identify with.
Yeah. What I want to take you to now is, what were your parents doing? What brought them to Lilongwe?
Right. It's a very good question you ask. My dad's future, in a way, got messed up because he impregnated my mom. He was a very bright student, you know, by all accounts would have made it to university. But because he impregnated my mom, he got expelled from Robert Rowe Central School. Right? He was in Form 3 at the time and wasn't able to finish, you know, his school. And so because of that, I think there was a bit of some falling out with his daddy as well. So he moved from Zimba and came to Lilongwe, where his mom was, Natenji area. And you know, eventually trained as an artisan, I think, in you know, metal work and fabrication and stuff of that sort at Lilongwe Technical College. All right. So when I was joining them, 1991, my father used to run a welding workshop at Biwi. Okay, but he used to stay in Kawale, but he had a welding workshop at Biwi. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. All right, so she would do, you know, the small things that industrious women do. She would cook mandasi, you know, to sell and stuff. But she was a stay-at-home mom. until much later, of course, when she decided to go and hunt for a job and found a job at the time at Malawi Hotels Limited, stationed at Lilong Hotel.